Hey y'all. I wanted to touch on a topic that I felt could probably help other people. I know looking at the caption, you're already aware of what I'm gonna be talking about, but I want to start off by saying this first. I love marriage. I know my eyebrows need to be did. They just not opening up everything. Hopefully I can get in there soon. But anyway, I love the idea of being married. I love marriage, period. I think it is a beautiful thing. I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's something that is a great thing. I just want to touch on why I chose divorce. I was married for 5.5 years, and I had married my high school sweetheart. Now, for you all that know me personally that may be watching this and know who I'm talking about, this is no slight towards him. This is more so to bring awareness to the situation, because it was deeper than that. It wasn't, our marriage didn't end necessarily because of infidelity or things like that. It ended because I discovered within myself, and through like I said, I am saved, I'm a Christian woman. I had to inquire to God to make sure this was the man for me. Now, I'm saying this to say, like, there can be other factors into why you want to be with a person. But I want to say this. Marry the person that you can't live without. That if they're gone or not in your life every day, you feel like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? Not that you're giving them power to dictate your life, but you should marry the person you can't live without. Your soulmate, the one you can laugh with, be yourself with. That's big too. If you can't be yourself with the person that you with, that's a sign that's not the person for you. If you have to put on a facade, if you gotta be a certain way just for them to accept you for who they want you to be versus who you are, that's a sign. So that was pretty much, I think, for me. My son is so loud, forgive me. I think for me, that was one of the biggest things. You can outgrow a person. You can outgrow somebody. I think people, we don't like to talk about stuff like this. We kind of just want to sweep it under the rug. But some people's marriages fail, not just because somebody cheating on somebody. Marriages work, so don't get me wrong. I'm one of the ones who's willing to do the work. But when your mental health is being compromised, your physical health is being compromised, that's when it's time to like walk away. I know you probably wondering, like, why would you point to your arms? But however, as you can see, I lost some of my skin pigmentation. It is coming back, thank God. People get this for different reasons. Mine was never hereditary. Nobody in my family has it or lost their skin pigmentation or anything like that. Actually, I discovered it within, I think after I had my youngest son, I discovered a spot. And I'm like, what is this? And it was just one. So I didn't, it's not that I didn't pay attention. I really didn't know what to do. So I was kind of like waiting to see what exactly would have happened with it. And then over time, other things started to grow. I started losing in other places. That's what I mean by other things started to grow. So come to find out, when I went to see my skin doctor, she was like, is it hereditary? Do you have anybody in your family that has it? I'm like, no. So she said, do you have anything personal going on? Now, I'm not one to like tell my business and things like that. She said, is there anything that's stressing you? And at this point, things were stressful for me because I had outgrew this person, but I was forcing myself to love this person because we already had a child together, and it just seemed like the right thing to do, when really I didn't feel how I was supposed to feel about him. And I no longer wanted to be selfish, because he has a right to be loved, and I got a right to love who I want to love. So she asked me, she said, what do you have anything stressful going on? So I just paused. I said, yeah, I kind of got a lot on my plate because I didn't want to put her in my business. This hair stuff. Ooh. Anyway, I didn't want to put her in my business. And at this time, it was very stressful. And she told me, she said, the more you stress, the more it'll come out, the more it'll grow, the more it'll... She said, you need to be less stressed. Less stressed. And I'm saying this to say this. Sometimes God will allow things to happen to get our attention. I would force myself to do the right thing. Well, I thought, I'm doing the right thing when that wasn't what God wanted me to do. He wasn't the person for me. So God has a way of showing you that. He'll allow things to happen. So I had decided within myself, because I wasn't happy and I hadn't been happy for a while. But then, to be honest with you, and then you factor in people and what they think and stereotypes. And for people who know me personally, they know who my ex-husband was. People were, oh, y'all are the cutest couple. You have the cutest kids. But it goes beyond that. Like, you can't have a toxic relationship just to say, my family, I'm with my family. Because you're tainting your kids at the end of the day. They're going to grow up. They're not going to be thankful that my mom and dad are together. Their mind is going to be mentally distorted if that household is toxic. So I'm just saying that to say, I did undergo like treatments and creams and stuff like that. And like I said, it is working. Thank God. It is working for me. And because I had to leave that situation alone, I'm less stressed. So therefore, it's not growing as or multiplying or whatever, however you want to say it, because I'm not stressed. So I'm saying this to say, I'm not encouraging divorce because there's a lot of factors that goes into things. I specifically prayed. I'm a believer in God. And I asked God, was this man my husband? Excuse me. And when he gave me my answer, I went for what I knew God told me and what was best for me. So this is not to say to get a divorce at all. This is for the people who aren't married, who's considering getting married. Make sure you're marrying that person for the right reasons. Because if not only are you wasting your time, it's later going to crumble. And I hate to say it, but if we have other motives, or I'm marrying them just because I don't want to see them with somebody else. I'm marrying them because just for the kids. That don't work either. That eventually plays out. And then if you think about it, if you marry somebody just for the kids, what's going to happen when the kids get grown and move out? Like, so we want to show our kids, I know I do, for mine, healthy relationships. Healthy relationships. So I'm just saying this to be encouraged. If you're married and you have underlying issues, what I recommend is seeking counsel. We did it plenty of times. I didn't just be like, just storm out of there like I'm done with this. I'm the type of person that I fight and I fight and I fight. But when I got my answer, I said, okay, well, Tiara, it's time to let go. So this is not to encourage you to get a divorce. This is to bring some light to the situation that when you're marrying somebody, because I never wanted to be divorced, but when you marry the wrong person or when you marry a person for the wrong reason, that's what it'll end up coming to. So just think about who you're with and make sure that you love them to life, because everybody's entitled to be loved. We don't want to make anybody's life miserable or anything like that. So I'm just saying that to say, again, just make sure that whoever you're marrying, if you're in pursuit of marriage, make sure you really love them. Do some soul searching. Make sure you love you. Because if you don't love you, you're going to put up with some stuff that's may not be good for you. But that's a topic for another day. But make sure you love you. Don't marry anybody because you don't feel loved and you don't love yourself and you want them to love you, because it's hard for somebody else to love you if you don't love yourself. So that's just why I just wanted to touch on this topic really quick. Comment down below. All negativity will not be tolerated. This was the decision I made for me. Again, this is not to encourage divorce. This is to shine light on the situation to make sure so we can see more longer lasting, healthy marriages. And when you're young, a lot of times you can be blindsided by things because you're young and it seemed like, oh, this is the right thing to do. And like I said, with me loving to be married, sometimes we can be so in love with the idea that when the person come along, it's like, yes. But just make sure it's who you want and that you can't live without that person. All right. Talk to y'all later.